This is the new Kia Niro HEV, and it could be one of the most sensible offerings to this growing hybrid class. But I also think it might just be the best looking car in this segment, don't you? Now the front end of this car is so much more interesting than that of its predecessor. I think it looks excellent, and I really like this LED design in the headlights over here, and the fact that the profile gives the face a bit of a squinted, almost snarling look. It's quite aggressive in design. I really like all the stuff that's going on here, mixture of black, chrome and bodywork. And then when you come around to the sides here, I think the fact that they've kept this wheel arch cover over here and then the section that runs down here all the way up to the tail in a different color to the bodywork just adds to the muscle, or adds to that SUV feel, which, yeah, okay, it's a crossover, but people want to be in an SUV-like car. And at the back, the design is, again, I think very nice. In fact, I really like the details in the lighting at the rear, and I think this quite futuristic look on the tail is just really cool. I think it's my best looking car in the class. And I also spot some vents through here which are genuine. There is airflow that can travel under these slats here and pass through the rear. I think maybe that and this extended roof spoiler here have something to do with ensuring that this hybrid model is as efficient as it can be. And of course, hybrid efficiency is the name of the game in this car, with a 1.6 litre petrol engine and a small electric motor and small battery. And we're going to put those to the test on the road. But also, I know this car is really trying to focus on offering comfort and practicality, and no clearer is that than inside. Inside, it's actually lovely. I've spent almost a week with this car now, and every day I've been in it, I've grown to like the interior more and more. It feels very premium. This is a 4 specification car, so it is a higher grade trim. And the fit and finish of the interior is really, really good. I mean, I'm feeling all the details around the edges here, the way everything's been stitched together. These surfaces are plastic, but they're a really nice quality. And then the way that the dash as well is integrated into the interior, I think everything just looks super high end actually. I even like the steering wheel. I know steering wheels with 2 spokes are a bit controversial, but the fact that this is circular and nice and simplistic is really nice. And my favorite feature is actually down here where you've got the heating controls. It's got this lovely smartphone reactivity, but it means you can switch between heating controls, or if you want, you can use it to control the actual infotainment system. I just think that the touch response is so nice, and the slight matte finish to the illumination is great. Same goes for this infotainment system, which not only does it have some really nice graphics on there, which are actually like the Cinch logo colors, but they also respond really nicely. All the menus and everything respond really quickly. It's got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, everything you would need. And the digital screen up here, again, sharp, nice graphics. Seats are a real plus point in this car. This model, being a high grade one, has leather seats. It means that I'm really comfortable. It's very supportive, great amount of adjustment. They're electric as well, and they auto move forward and backwards when you get in and out of the car. So you're getting a lot of stuff in this model when it comes to cabin technology and comfort. And I haven't even talked about USBs and cup holders and stuff like that. It's got plenty of storage space, cubby holes down here, wireless charging as well, USB-C and USB port. 2 cup holders here, which can be reclined back if you want to have more space. Space in here, you name it, this car's got it. In the back, it's really lovely. Again, there's loads of space. I mean, the seat ahead is how I've set it. And I don't know if you can see, but I've basically got my legs as close as straight as I've had them for a long, long time in a car. Feet tuck under the front seat really easily, and there's loads of knee room. Same goes for the room above me. I mean, because it's got this boxy roofline, I've got loads of headroom above me and loads of room to the side as well. So you could easily fit 2 adults in the back here for a long journey. And there's pretty good tech in the back as well. There are 2 USB-C ports on the backs of the seats here. Down here, there's a 200-watt plug port. I think you might need an adapter, but it's got 2 holes in there. And you also have in this model, the high spec 4, we've got heated seats. There's a button down there. So you're well kitted out. And I'll check out the middle seat, see what it's like. It's good, it's pretty good actually. I'm a little bit higher, good space, because there's all of this space down there in the footwell. I mean, theoretically you could get 3 teenagers in the back, certainly 2 adults, 3 kids, probably no problem as well. And in the boot, where in this top 4 model, you've got an electric tailgate. Again, there's loads of space, not surprisingly, given everything else has been so impressive. You've got a lot of room in here, and underneath, you've also got a bit more space under here. There is a tyre repair kit down there, but if you wanted to remove some of that stuff, you'd have quite a lot of room down there to hide some bits, plus a couple of cubby holes. Now, just to prove how big this boot is, look how easily it swallows our couple's getaway suitcase or maybe small family suitcase if you're doing a weekend break. Very easily indeed. This is a very practical car. I think actually what it offers for the money, and given that this thing starts at under £30,000 and then creeps over 30 grand when you spec it up, it's fantastic value as far as I can tell, but does that translate on the road? So we're on the open road in the Niro Hybrid, and I've been driving this car, as I mentioned earlier, for about a week now, and I really do like it. It drives so efficiently and so refined. The mixture of petrol and electric motor in this car is right up there with the best in the class, best in many of the classes actually. So seamless in its transition, and I've been averaging over 45 miles per gallon in mixed driving. That includes inner city driving, stop-start traffic, and also fast motorway driving as well, getting up and down the country for different shoots. So I've been really impressed with it. Kia claims over 50 to the gallon is possible if you drive efficiently, and well, I haven't been driving particularly efficiently. When I've found some nice roads, I've been enjoying the acceleration of the car. Now with 140 horsepower, it's not the quickest thing, of course, but it does have really good low down torque thanks to that electric motor working when the engine's at its weaker point. It means that you don't have to really think about how you're driving this car. You very much just leave it in its automatic setting. There's no buttons down there to switch through drive modes. You do get to switch between modes, but there's just an eco and a sport, and I like that. It's simple, it's honest. There's no customization between what you can do with the powertrain. You just leave it to run as it pleases, and 99% of people will never even click into that sport mode because you simply don't need to. The car responds quick enough. The gearbox as well. It's a 6-speed DCT auto with paddles which are located behind the wheel, but I've not found myself ever really wanting to use them. I've just left the car to its own devices, and I think that's a very good thing in this class. It also steers and goes around corners nicely. It's definitely not sporty in any way. It's not trying to take on the Ford Kuga, for example, in this class, with slightly more agile feeling to it, a bit quicker on the steering rack. This is just a relaxed feeling car. It's comfortable, it's luxurious, dare I say, with all of that kit that's on it. And just to demonstrate how smooth the transition is from electric to petrol, I'll just back it off a bit. There's no one behind me, so I can slow right down. The engine's actually off now, so the engine's gone to 0 RPM on the dial. I'm doing 30 miles per hour, and I'm coasting down the hill, and the engine is completely off, and has just stayed off. But the steering is still light, you know, everything's still on, but we're now just rolling with battery power. When I gently touch the accelerator, now accelerating over 30, and we're still in battery power only. And now the engine just clicked on because we're doing about 35 miles per hour. But the start was just seamless. There was no vibration, nothing through the steering wheel, nothing through the pedal, nothing through the car. The only way I knew the engine had turned on is because the dial for the rev counter clicked up to 2000 RPM. And I can hear, it's a slightly gruff note from the engine, but it's so quiet, it's very much in the background. Really, really impressive. Nice and refined job there. It also rides really well. I think there is a slight firmness. It's a classic crossover / SUV feel where you can sense there's a bit of weight in the car. It's 1.5 tons this. And so over some bumps and ridges, you do get a slight jiggle, but it's overall very refined. And I'll just, as I approach this roundabout here, confirm that it's actually quite nice handling as well. There's a bit of roll. It's not been set up, as I said, to be sporty in any way, but it just feels so sure-footed and so content on the road. And it is a front-wheel drive car, but the traction is really good. It's greasy and slippery today, and I've had nothing in the way of traction issues. In town, this thing is very easy to live with. It's great turning circle, good visibility, door mirrors are quite tall, I can see out the back clearly, you've got reversing camera of course, and visibility over the front. Because you're relatively high, you get to see down the road and over some of the lower cars ahead of you. And yeah, while the actual driving position itself, because the car is a bit elevated, you've got a good view down the road. I'm actually still quite comfortable in this car. I like seating positions to be quite low in cars, and because you can set the seat, it's a very wide adjustable range on this seat. You can set it quite nice and low in the cabin. It means I've got the dashboard surrounding me. I feel nice and cocooned in the car, but at the same time I've got good visibility as well. And if you do need to put your foot down, as I'm about to do now, the pickup is good, the delivery is smooth, straight up to national speed limit speed, no problems whatsoever. And I've driven this car, as I said, up and down the motorway this week, and sitting at the motorway speed limit, it's so effortless. If you do want to pull out and do some overtakes, you might need a bit more momentum. It's got a 0 to 62 time claimed for just over 10 seconds, so it's not the quickest thing on the road by a large margin. but you just need to think ahead a bit more once you're rolling, and the momentum carrying capability of this car is excellent because as soon as you come off the power, the engine switches off, it just coasts and coasts and coasts. Now there is one slight thing that I don't like about this car. It's the first thing I spotted, and it's that the brake pedal isn't the best at modulation at all speeds. It's fine in town, but at higher speeds, and I don't know if this is because the car has been set to try and keep up the momentum, it does feel, if you're braking from higher speeds, that you do have to squeeze the brake pedal a little harder than you would expect to slow the car down. It feels quite heavy in those moments, but there is confirmation that the brakes are pretty good because I've had to do a fewer heavy stops, and I know the brakes are really good. It just requires a bit more of a squeeze. So I don't know if that's a setup thing, they've chosen to keep that momentum going, or whether it's just a signal that this car is maybe just a tad heavier than you might expect. Okay, should we try the sport mode just so I can show you what it's like? So I've clicked into sport, immediately the accelerator's sharpened up, I can feel it's much more reactive. It feels like the electric in the car especially is giving me a bigger kick up the backside immediately. And now if I use the shift paddles, they don't respond particularly quickly. There's a right old hesitation there with shifting, so clearly this car's not been set up to be sporty at all. So you might only really use this mode perhaps if you're about to do an overtake and you want that quicker throttle response. Otherwise, leave it in eco and let the car run as it's designed to be. So that was a positive review. I'm very happy to say that I very much like this Kia Niro hybrid model. Now there is obviously an electric model and there's a plug-in hybrid model, both of which we'll be testing very soon. But if you're into hybrids and you like crossovers or small SUVs, this is a fantastic value offering. All right, not as sporty as say Ford's Kuga when it drives on the road, but I don't think that matters. I think buyers of this car will appreciate that for under 30K, you can get all of this kit and these fantastic looks. I think it's excellent. What do you think? Do you like it, or would you take one of the other models from this class? Let us know in the comments below. And of course, like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. See you soon.